Captured by the alien huntress, the jungle air was thick and silent. Commander Jace Kane opened his eyes slowly. Pain shot through his head. Blood was dripping from a cut above his eyebrow. His arms were tied tightly behind his back, and cold metal. Chains dug into his skin. Around him, tall red trees reached into the sky like claws, and strange birds cried out in the distance. He was not on Earth anymore. A shadow moved in front of him. An alien, tall and strong, wearing dark armor and a helmet with glowing lines, kicked him hard in the side. "Move, human." Jace gritted his teeth and stood up with effort. His body ached, but he didn't show pain. He had been trained for worse. Around him, 6 armed aliens stood guard, their weapons pointed at him. They pushed him forward through the jungle, deeper, into enemy territory. Hours passed. Jace was tired, hungry, and bleeding, but he didn't stop. He couldn't. He was the last surviving member of his unit. His team had been ambushed. No backup. No escape. Finally, they reached a clearing dot. It was a camp, but not any camp. It was made from sharp black stone and glowing blue light. Alien soldiers stood everywhere. But all of them stepped aside when one figure walked into the open. She was tall, almost 7 feet. Her skin was pale silver. Her black armor was covered in strange marks, glowing softly. Her eyes were golden, cold, and sharp. And in her hand was a long blade, curved and deadly dot. She was known as the Huntress, warrior, killer, commander of the Varellan forces. A name whispered in fear across galaxies. Jace didn't flinch as she walked toward him. He looked straight into her eyes. She stopped 1 step away from him. Without a word, she raised her sword and placed the cold edge against his throat. The camp went silent. Her voice was calm, but full of fire. "Any last words, human?" Jace gave a small, tired smile. "Yeah, your grip is weak." A gasp went through the crowd. No one ever spoke back to her. Not like that, but something strange happened. She didn't kill him. She froze. Her golden eyes blinked. Her blade stayed still. For a second, her hand even shook. Jace stared at her, still smiling. Inside, his heart pounded. He was gambling with his life. But if he was going to die, he wanted to leave a scar on her pride dot. Then slowly, she lowered the blade. "Take him to the cells," she said quietly. Then she turned and walked away. The guards dragged Jace toward a prison building. But behind him, the Huntress looked back, just once. Something in his words had shaken her. Inside the cell, Jace sat against the wall. His hands were still tied, but his eyes were full of fire. He whispered to himself, "You're not here to kill me. Not yet." He looked up at the small glowing camera in the ceiling. "I saw the way you looked at me," he said softly. "What are you afraid of, Huntress?" Outside, the wind howled through the alien camp dot, and far above, in the sky of Varela, thunder began to roll. The words that broke her focus. Style, simple English, third person, high suspense, 850 words. Huntress stood alone on the platform above the camp. Wind blew her black cloak behind her, but she didn't feel it. Her eyes stayed fixed on the jungle, but her mind was somewhere else, on the human. "Your grip is weak." His words echoed again and again in her head. That no prisoner had ever dared say such a thing to her. Not even the bravest alien warriors. So why hadn't she killed him? She clenched her fists. "You hesitate," said a voice behind her. She turned. Sharply, it was Commander Vex, her second in command. His eyes were sharp, suspicious. "You let the human live," he said slowly. "Why?" She stayed silent. "I hope you're not forgetting the prophecy," he said coldly. "The one the elders spoke of. A human who would break your blade and your heart." She looked away. "Prophecies are just stories." "Maybe," Vex said, but stories have power. Be careful, Myra. Humans lie with their smiles. She gave him a deadly look, and I kill with mine. He walked away, but the tension stayed inside. The dark prison cell, Jace sat with his back against the wall. He had counted every second since she left. Then, the door clicked. It opened just a little. He looked up. She entered silently, alone, no guards. No armor, just her. She stared at him for a long moment, then tossed a small bag to the ground. Food. J.S.E. raised an eyebrow. What's this? Poison? She didn't answer. He picked up the food and started eating slowly. I didn't think you'd visit. I thought I'd be dead by now. She crossed her arms. Why did you say that? About my grip, he smiled. Because I wanted to see what would happen. You risked your life for a joke? She asked, double quotes, no. I risked it because I saw something. He said, you weren't going to kill me. Not really. Your eyes said something else. She stepped closer. You think you understand me? No. But I know warriors. You didn't flinch because you were weak. You flinched because you were human. Just for a second, her face changed. Something softer, almost like confusion. You? Don't know what I've done, she said, her voice low. I don't need to, Jace replied. But I know what you didn't do. You didn't kill me. Silence filled the room. Then she turned and walked away. But before leaving, she looked back and said, they're watching us. Be careful what you say. That night, in the commander's tent, Vex met with 2 other officers. She's changed, he said. Since the human, one of them nodded. She brings him food, breaks rules. She hides something. Tomorrow, Vex said coldly. We remove the problem. Back in his cell, Jace couldn't sleep. His body was tired, but his mind was racing. Suddenly, the wall glowed red. He crawled to the corner and pressed his ear to the stone. Voices. She's protecting the human. Tomorrow, we kill him. And if she resists, her too. Jace's heart pounded. He sat back, breathing hard. They're turning on her, he whispered. The next morning, just before sunrise, the door opened again. This time she was wearing armor, but her eyes looked different. Get up, she said. They're coming for you, he told her. I heard. Them. They think you're soft. They're going to kill us both. She unlocked his chains quickly. We don't have time, she said. Follow me. He looked at her. Why are you helping me? She paused, then answered simply, because when you spoke back to me, I felt something I've never felt before. And what was that? He asked. Alive, she said. They moved through the tunnels under the camp. Shadows and lights passed. Over them, they could hear footsteps above. Jace looked at her. So what's your plan? She pulled out a small device. There's a ship at the edge of the cliff. If we reach it, a loud growl stopped her. Jace's eyes widened. From the tunnel ahead, a massive alien beast appeared. Twice as tall as a human, with burning red eyes and armor on its skin. A warhound. Run, she said, drawing her blade. Jace grabbed a pipe from the wall. Not without you. The beast charged. The tunnel shook. And then, secrets in the dark. Length, approximately 850 words. Style, third person, simple English, emotional plus suspenseful. The tunnel shook with each step of the beast. Jace stood still, eyes locked on the huge alien creature. Its jaws were wide, its breath thick with smoke. The warhound's skin was rough like armor, its claws scraping against the ground. The huntress Myra stepped forward without fear. Her blade gleamed in the dark. Go back, she whispered to Jace. No, Jace said, gripping a metal pipe. We fight together. The beast charged. Myra moved like lightning, quick, silent, deadly. She rolled to the side, slicing across the creature's leg. Sparks flew. Jace ducked behind a stone pillar, then jumped out and smashed the pipe across. The beast's snout. It roared and turned to him. "Hey, ugly!" Jace shouted. "Look at me!" The warhound lunged, jaws open. But before it could bite down, Myra leapt high and drove her blade deep into the back of its neck. The creature let out one final scream and dropped. Silence. The tunnel was filled with the sound of their breathing. Jace leaned against the wall, chest rising fast. "You're insane?" "You distracted it," she said. "Yeah, but I also almost died." She looked at him with a small smile. "Then we're even." They didn't stop. The path was long broken and full of shadows. As they walked, Jace asked, "That thing, was it meant for me?" She nodded. "Or for both of us?" He shook his head. "Your people want you dead for helping a human?" "They don't trust me anymore," she said softly. "I've changed." "Why?" She looked at him. "Because you reminded me what it feels like to choose. To think for myself." He walked beside her in silence. Then he asked, "Who were you before this?" For a moment she didn't answer. Then she said, "I was raised as a weapon, taken as a child, trained to fight, to never ask questions, to never feel anything. I became this blade they needed, but not the person you wanted to be." Jace asked. She stopped walking. "No," she whispered. They found an old bunker hidden under the trees. Inside, it was cold and dusty. Broken weapons, old maps, and cracked screens filled the walls. Myra sealed the door behind them and sat down. "This place was once a rebel base," she said. "Now it's forgotten." Jace looked around. "So we're safe here?" "For now." He sat down across from her. "You know, you don't have to go back." "I betrayed my command," she said. "They'll hunt me forever." He leaned forward. "Then come with me? Earth isn't perfect, but at least we get to choose our own path." She looked at him, unsure. Then he asked quietly, "Why didn't you kill me, Myra? Back in the camp?" She looked away. "Because." Your eyes didn't show fear. They showed something else, a challenge, a question. And I realized I didn't want to silence that. She stood up suddenly, walking to the far wall. Jace followed. There, carved into the wall, was a strange symbol. A star wrapped in flame. She touched. The elders called it the flame sign, she said. They believed a fire would come from the stars brought by a human, that he would either burn us or light the way. "And you think I'm that fire?" Jace asked. "I don't know," she whispered, "but something changed when I met you." Suddenly, an alert sound echoed through the bunker. Beep, beep. Jace ran to the screen. It was flashing red. Tracking signal detected. Unknown drone approaching. "They found us," Myra said. "No," Jace said, typing on the broken screen. "Wait, it's not from them. It's from space." He adjusted the scanner. A small Earth signal appeared, weak but real. "A human ship," Jace said. "It's looking for survivors." Her eyes widened. "Your people are coming?" "Yes, if I boost the signal, they can reach us in time." He turned to her. "But you need to decide, are you going to run, or are you ready to fight with me?" She looked at him. Then she walked forward, placed her sword on the table, and nodded. "I fight with you, Jace Kane." They both stared at the blinking light on the screen. Hope was coming, but so was war. The escape plan. Style: third person, length approximately 850 words. Simple English. Action plus suspense plus betrayal. The signal blinked. Faint, but alive. Jace Kane stared at the glowing screen, his fingers moving fast across the cracked keys. He was trying to boost the signal from the human ship orbiting the planet. If they picked it up, Earth would know he was alive, and he wouldn't be alone anymore. Beside him, Myra the alien huntress watched in silence. Her silver eyes showed worry, not fear. She had chosen to help him, to fight beside him. And now there was no turning back. How long before they traced this signal? She asked. Not long, Jace said. Vex will know we're here. Myra looked toward the bunker door. Then we don't wait. Hours later, at the edge of the cliff, they moved through the jungle, silent but fast. Trees cracked underfoot. Strange birds cried overhead. Myra held her blade tight, her body tense. There's an old fighter ship buried near the cliffs, she said. It hasn't flown in years, but you can fix it? Jace asked. I can try. They reached the cliff just as the twin suns started to set. The sky was painted in red and purple. Below them, a broken ship lay hidden under vines and moss. Its wings were cracked, but its engine core still hummed faintly. Jace grinned. Beautiful. Myra pulled off the vines and opened the hatch. Inside, dust floated in the air. Suddenly crack. Blast exploded near their feet. Jace fell back. Myra spun, blade drawn. From the trees, a familiar voice shouted, You should have killed him when you had the chance. Commander Vex, and behind him 3 elite soldiers. He stepped forward, face twisted in rage. You betrayed your blood, Myra, for a human. He made me see the truth, she said coldly. You're just afraid of it. Vex raised his weapon. You'll both die here. But before he fired, Jace activated a small EMP pulse. The blast knocked out their guns for a few seconds. Myra now, he yelled. She rushed forward. Blade flashing, feet light. She struck one guard across the chest, dropping him. The other 2 charged. Jace ran into the ship, flipping switches, powering systems. Come on, come on. Outside, Myra fought with all her strength. But Vex was stronger than most. He blocked her strike, pushed her back, and growled. You were born for war, not love. I was born to choose. She shouted. She slashed across his arm. Sparks flew, but Vex grabbed her by the throat and slammed her into the ground. He raised his blade high, bang. A blast echoed. Vex stumbled back, dropping his weapon. Jace stood at the top of the ship, smoke rising from a small hand blaster. Stay away from her, he said. Myra coughed, stood, and with a final cry, drove her blade into Vex's side. This enemy commander gasped, then fell. Inside the ship, Jace helped Myra into the seat. You good? She nodded weakly. I'll live. The ship hummed as power returned. Lights blinked. Jace grinned. Engines are hot. Let's fly. The ship lifted slowly, rising from the cliff as fire burned in the jungle below. They shot into the sky, leaving the war-torn surface behind. But just before they hit orbit alert, incoming missile detected. Jace's smile vanished. Oh, come on. He looked at Myra. Any ideas? She pulled off her wristband and handed it to him. What's this? It's a tracker, but also a shield trigger. Press it at the last second. Last second? Trust me. The missile closed in, screaming through the atmosphere. Jace waited and waited. Then he hit the trigger. A blue dome exploded around them. The missile struck and bounced off, exploding harmlessly in the air. They both let out a breath. Nice. Jace said, that was close. Myra looked out the window. Closer than you think. Above planet Varela, orbit zone they reached. The human ship's signal. Jace opened a channel. This is Commander Kane, requesting pickup. I'm not alone, and you're going to want to hear this story. The voice on the other end crackled. Copy that, Commander. We see you. Sending a shuttle now. Myra looked at him. Will they accept me? Jace held her hand. They will. If I do, but far below. A single red light blinked in the jungle ruins. A camera lens turned. A figure in shadows stepped forward, watching the smoke rise into the sky. Let them run, the figure whispered. We were never after the human. We wanted her to lead us straight to Earth. The warrior's choice. Style. Third person. Approximately 850 words. Simple. English. Emotional plus tense plus powerful. The shuttle doors opened with a hiss. Earth's sky looked different from space blue and wide. Like hope. Jace Kane stepped out first, his boots hitting steel ground. Around them stood dozens of armed guards, Earth defense soldiers. All their guns pointed at the ship. Behind Jace, Mira stepped out slowly. Her silver skin shimmered in the sunlight. Her armor was black and battle-worn. She didn't raise her hands. She didn't show fear. But her golden eyes scanned every face. The soldiers didn't smile. She's the alien, someone whispered. The huntress. Jace raised his voice. She's not the enemy. One general stepped forward. His face was hard. That's not your decision, Commander. She saved my life, Jace said. She stopped the attack. She helped me escape. She also led over 40 missions against our forces, the general said. There are graves with her name on them. Myra looked straight at him. And there are regrets in my heart. But I came here to end this war, not to bring it. The general turned away. We'll see what the council thinks. Inside Earth HQ they kept Myra in a glass cell. No chains. No torture. But constant surveillance. Jace visited her every day. You okay? He asked on the third day. She sat on the floor. Silent. Your people watch me like I'm already guilty. They're afraid, Jace said. You were their nightmare once. And now, you're my reason to keep fighting. She looked at him, really looked. Do you believe I deserve forgiveness? Jace nodded. Not because of what you were, but because of what you're becoming. Earth's High Council. Emergency session inside a large chamber. World leaders argued. She's too dangerous. She could be lying. What if she's a weapon sent to get close to our defenses? And then one woman stood. She came when she didn't have to. She warned us. Maybe the bravest thing she did was not killing our soldier when she had the chance. The vote was split. Final decision. One test. One chance. That night, Earth Defense Testing Facility. Jace paced outside the test chamber. What kind of test? He asked. The general replied. Coldly. Simple loyalty. If she turns on us, we'll know she never changed. Inside the chamber, Myra stood in a ring of glowing light. She was given a choice. In the center stood a hologram. Projection of a young Earth cadet, scared, confused, unarmed. Then a voice echoed. Prove your loyalty. Kill the image. Her hands shook. She knew it wasn't real, but it looked real, sounded real, like one of the young soldiers she once hunted. She closed her eyes. Memories flooded in fire. Screams, battles. Then she opened her eyes and dropped her blade. I will not kill again. Just to prove something, she said. I'm not your weapon anymore. Outside the chamber, the council watched the footage. The general was silent. Jace's fists were tight. And then approval was granted. She passed. Later, on the rooftop of Earth HQ, the stars above were quiet. Jace and Mira stood side by side, looking. You didn't take the blade, he said. No, she whispered. Because the war inside me is over. But the war outside is just beginning, he said. They know where we are now. And they'll come. Myra nodded. Then we'll stop them together. Jace turned to her. There's one thing I still don't understand. What? He looked into her golden eyes. When I said your grip was weak, why did you stop? She smiled slightly. Because No one had ever seen my weakness and called it strength. Meanwhile, deep in Varellan Space, a dark figure stood before a giant screen. The human signal had been traced. Earth's defenses had been mapped. And now, the final phase was ready. Begin the invasion, the figure said. A fleet of warships rose from the dark side of a moon. Thousands of weapons. Millions of soldiers dot the target. Earth. Her blade, his. Words, one last stand. Style, third person. Approximately 900 words. Simple, English. Emotional climax plus action plus heroic ending the sky above. Earth turned black. Not because of clouds, not because of warships. Hundreds of Varellan vessels blocked out the sun. Their cannons glowed red, ready to fire. The invasion had begun. Inside Earth HQ, alarms screamed. Soldiers ran through halls. Generals shouted orders. Panic spread like fire. In the command center, Jace Kane stood over the holomap. They're targeting our cities, he said. They're not here to fight. They're here to end us. Beside him, Myra's face was cold but calm. She had once led those ships. Now, she stood against them. You know their patterns? Jace asked. I know their pride, she replied. They'll attack full force. No mercy, no surrender. Then, we need to hit them first. The room fell silent. One general asked, with what? We can't outgun them. Myra stepped forward. We don't need to, she said. We just need to outsmart them. She looked at Jace. Send me back to their command ship. Everyone turned toward her. Alone? Jace said, they'll let me board. They'll think I've returned to lead them. But while I'm inside, I can bring their shield systems down. They'll kill you, Jace whispered. Maybe, she said softly. But if I don't go, your world dies. 1 hour later, above Earth, Myra flew toward the Varellan flagship in a small black stealth pod. Inside, she wore her armor, again sharp, familiar, but no longer a symbol of fear. This time, it was her choice. Her ship docked silently. Guards met her with weapons. Commander. Myra, one said. We were told you were captured. I escaped, she lied. Earth is weak. I bring knowledge and a gift. They brought her before the Supreme Commander, an ancient Varellan with cold blue skin and a voice like stone. You stand before your people again, he said. Why? She smiled. To finish what we started. Meanwhile, Earth Command Center Jace watched the live feed from her suit. His chest was tight. Every second felt like a blade. Suddenly, the signal cut for 3 seconds. Then dash, boom, a blast. Rocked the Varellan fleet. One by one. Their shields blinked off. She did it, a tech officer shouted. Their defenses are down. Jace slammed a fist on the table. Launch counterattack. Now. Earth's ships rose from the ground fast. Focused, full of fire. Fighters tore into the alien ships. Missiles exploded across the sky. For the first time, the Varellans felt fear. Inside the Varellan flagship, Myra fought like a storm. She took down guards with quiet fury, racing to the engine core. But then she stopped. In front of her stood the Supreme Commander. You betrayed us, he growled. No, she said. I chose them. I chose peace. He drew his blade. So this is how you end. She raised hers. No, she said. This is how I begin. They clashed blade to blade. Sparks flew. She was faster. He was stronger. He knocked her down. Raised his sword. But a voice echoed in her ear. Myra, do you hear me? Jace. She smiled. Then she whispered, Any last words, Supreme Commander? He paused. What? She kicked his leg, rolled up, and drove her blade through his chest. Yeah, your grip is weak. Minutes later, the flagship exploded in the sky fire and light across the clouds. Earth's people watched from below, in silence. Then the cheers began. Hours later, In a field outside the city, Jace stood alone. The battle was won, but no one had found Mira's body. No ship escape. No signal. She was gone. He sat under the stars. Quiet. Then he heard a sound. Behind him, from the shadows, a figure limped forward. Silver skin, golden eyes, her armor cracked, her hands bleeding. But she was alive. Myra. He ran to her. She smiled. You always did talk too much, she said. He held her tightly. You came back. I told you, she whispered. This is how I begin. Final scene: a monument stands in Earth's capital. Two statues. One of a human soldier with a brave smile. One of a tall alien warrior, her sword pointed down in peace. The plaque reads, he challenged her blade. She answered with her heart. Together they stopped the war. The end